What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Boompa World. We just watched the worst ending to any Super Bowl in recent memory. Total bullshit. So I took it upon myself. Me and my roommate, we decided to put on a better show. Boot up old NFL 2K5 on the PS2. And I mean, it's known as the upper echelon of sports sims. 2K's final football game with the NFL license before EA cut them out of the deal.
It's strictly business.
I feel like it's definitely special. Deserves a season where we just tear ass, draft a godly team. At the time this game dropped, it was half the price and came out a month before Madden. Beyond some overly competitive pickup games growing up, I never really delved too deep into this one.
Sweetie, possession is 9/10 of the law.
What?
So let's see what features and gameplay stand out and document our hopeful climb to get a damn ring.
One team will stand alone as champions of the National Football League.
Oh, and luckily my copy of the game has a free ticket to the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, it expired December 31st, 2005. Straight to the draft as the Packers, after watching the hype 2005 ass intro that the game of course has.
Look at him go! That's 20, that's 10, touchdown!
Our first pick is a human cheat code in these older football games, Mike Vick. He had that dog in him.
What do you mean by that?
We grabbed Brian Westbrook at running back and Chris Chambers and Andre Johnson at receiver, Champ Bailey for our secondary, and Brian Urlacher to clump up the middle on defense. We were looking good so far. Got some handsome big round dudes for the line, defensive and offensive. And honestly, we came out of the draft ready to finesse the computer-controlled GMs out of their Hall of Famers. Starting first with Tony Gonzalez. Get your ass on the team. We needed a tight end, you king. If you fucking drop one ball. But yeah, the season was ready to start, and since it was ESPN 2K5, they had SportsCenter recapping the games each week, talking about the preseason and shit. Chris Berman yelling at you before each game in PS2 graphics. Look at these bums tailgating in the rain for the Panthers in week 1, just to watch their team get their ass beat by us. Yeah, from them having Brett Favre, their slow quarterback returning their punts, to us getting this hype-ass successful challenge and review. It was bad out for them. Right off the bat, it controlled great, with moves actually working. Your turbo working like a tapping thing, so you can get second bursts of energy. But overall, the physics, everything felt so clean, and even if you called the same play, it felt like more variety to the outcomes and how every player reacted. It didn't feel so predictable. After kind of going off on pro, we decided we'll go half the season and then bump it up to all pro difficulty. The presentation and animation of this game is just ridiculous for the time. And the graphics are still clear enough to see what's going on, but they're nothing really earth-shattering. Still bright colors, though, that make it easy to look at. The Packers jerseys honestly pop. Like, come on. Put some respect on it. Give them their flowers. The weight of the players felt so refreshing, and each hit bouncing off with controller vibration was basic, but it just drove home. This game is a banger. We're hit sticking. We traded our running back Brian Westbrook for Ricky Williams because he was on the cover of NFL Street, and he's just cool and like also way better. Oh yeah, we also grabbed 38-year-old Jerry Rice. No big deal. The GOAT in his final year. An 88 overall to sheer respect to be our wide receiver 3. And honestly, after this move, I knew it was over. It would be fun. This mixed with our defense just dominating made it a cakewalk. We were putting up recruited private school versus underfunded city school numbers every week. Vic could run out of any predicament, throw it if he felt like. And we even had this fullback who we'd hand off to run in on the one, and he'd have like 3 carries, 4 yards, and 2 TDs. He was our little side character, as this team was just unstoppable. Plenty of touchdowns to go around. Lopiensky was our little meme. But yeah, just the whole receiving and playing the secondary in this game felt so much more fleshed out and skill-based than any Madden, even today. Outrunning your defender and getting to the ball, deflecting or getting a piece of the ball right before the receiver gets it, just was super satisfying. Just felt less animation based and overall based, and gave you a chance to do you. 2004 pop star it girl Carmen Electra even called my 2K crib phone, challenged us to a game with her little in-game
I reserve the right to change my mind.
webcam. This was weird, and I was home alone for this part and felt like I was being watched by her. We took no prisoners in Indianapolis, Doug Dimmadome. We just left them on the field like dumbasses. Somebody get Jeff Saturday. But yeah, we just beat ass after ass after ass. The trade deadline passed. Snow was on the ground. It didn't matter. And now, after the 8-0 average win margin of 40, we boosted the difficulty up to All-Pro. To run with the quarterback, you had to press R1, and when you were scrambling, you couldn't pass to anyone, which I found interesting but limiting. It can only throw off your back foot on the jog and not on the run, so there was no Derek Jeter, Mahomes douche passes. Because if you aren't controlling the receiver and catching the ball at the end of the route, it's just like a less likely catch. Same with playing in the secondary and defending receivers, or switching to the guy on the line for the hit stick. It's straightforward gameplay that wants you to take control and get good. Our first game on All-Pro was the first actual test of the whole season, and it was double hard because of the snow and everybody having some slippery ass hands. We bricked a couple field goals for good measure, and throughout the season that was one of our biggest weaknesses. It wasn't the fault of the mechanic, we were just really always aiming just a little too right like a dumbass. And the arrow moves without your input, and the higher the difficulty, the more quickly it'll go. And yeah, we were up 14-6, and everything was cool until my roommate was fried or something and got sacked in the end zone. Safety, just total pain, and we had to punt the ball back to them. But we still managed to survive and fight after that uncomfortable ass 14-8 score. At this point, us yelling fight at the screen was like a twitch, and it felt like it was really helping our players perform. Fight. Our backup was JP Lozman, who is known for being a bust, but he's actually kind of had a wise sage arc in real life and became like a coach for the best college QBs. He leads those to a power he cannot possess. The stress and pressure, the in-game situations once the difficulty ramped up and the game was just really tense, and was a testament to the strong gameplay. The attention to detail was just crazy. I was just constantly wowed with moments in the game. It was just so immersive, like compared to a lot of other NFL games I've played. Not to mention the menus being your little office in your computer, and everything being tied together with ESPN gives it that clean 2005 presentation. Gotta love it. You can prepare and scout and practice your players each week, even deciding how they rehab, which was really cool, but honestly just unnecessary. We had enough weapons. But yeah, the next week we almost blew a 28-10 lead after this successful onside kick. But the next one we somehow managed to return, which I've never seen in my life. But yeah, we got to close out that game. The onside kicks got stressful on this difficulty. The CPU would get that fucking perfect angle every time. Vic got injured again against the Eagles, and we came down to the wire yet again. And yeah, this All-Pro was pretty tough, and I can't stress enough though how fun these games actually were. Like, we got the onside kick, and they got a redo, which was bullshit in this game. But yeah, we still held on to get that win and keep our spotless record, which remained flawless until we got our ass handed to us by the Jaguars, destroying our perfect record and giving us a reality check, bringing us back to earth before the playoffs. We beat the brakes off the Bears, and I couldn't tell if they were trash or at this game was our turning point. We were getting hot at the right time and getting the hang of the difficulty for the playoffs. But yeah, the season wrapped up. Vic won the MVP and became the first quarterback ever to nab the rushing title. If that shows you how easy it was to sneak out of the pocket or QB sneak every time on 3rd and short, I don't know what will. He was the GOAT, and we were on his back. 3,000 passing yards, 1,700 rush yards, 31 passing TDs, 17 picks, a little iffy, 23 rush TDs, and then our Lopiensky character had 7 TDs and 99 rush yards on the entire season. Very weird numbers. Ricky Williams hit 1,000 on the year too, and had like 17 touchdowns. Andre Johnson had 1,358 receiving yards, 9 TDs. He was wide receiver 1, but Chambers had 10 TDs, so I don't know. Clearly our main receivers though. We got a chance to look at everyone's stats in this easy-to-use interface. Not underdogs this year. After our playoff bye, we hopefully can break the Cowboys' playoff dreams. Maybe a few man-children, Cowboy fans, TVs along with it. In typical Cowboys fashion, they actually decided to just beat themselves. Started off the game, the drives resulting in a fumble, which then a TD for us, an interception, then 2 pick sixes. Talk about a hole. I even went for 2 because they just didn't deserve to be on the same field. We ended up scoring 64 on them and kind of let them sneak back. But yeah, just get the hell out of my sight. The real game was next week, the NFC Championship versus 14-win Atlanta. There was going to be no more easy games, no more freebies like that one. And I swear, this NFC Championship was the single most stressful game I've ever had to play of a football video game. First play of the game was a Schweigert pick 6, which just turned us up. But it was clear right away that they had Randy Moss and they were going to use him. Open or not, this dude Testaverde was chucking it to him. And he's one of the 100 overalls in this game, so he was nice with it. But so were we. Got a few stops, a few scores, and we were up 21-7 at a point. All of the actual touchdowns were like boring 1-yard runs because they were making our asses work for it. And all that lead we worked for disappeared before the half ended, and we went into the second half in an uncomfortable 21-17. After Ricky Williams breaks free and finds a nice little slithery hole, the game's winding down. It's 28-20. Just slightly uncomfortable. We tried to chew some clock, but they had the ball with 3 minutes left, down 8, and they were just slowly marching. It felt inevitable. Our cheeks were clenched. We were biting each other's nails. It was so scary. But with our season on the line, they get the touchdown. Oh dear, we're only up by 2. And they try to tie it with the 2-point conversion. Travie put on his big boy pants and
he has some nice stats so far.
and stopped him. And there was 2 minutes left, but we got a few firsts and kneeled the hell out of the ball. Yeah, we're going to the bowl. I want to muster up complaints or comparisons or mention the game has aged out or something interesting point, and it's actually just fire. Just very enjoyable. It creates just really good moments. I don't know how to explain it. We wanted a rematch against the Jaguars in the Super Bowl to rectify our one loss, make them pay for their sins, but fate knocked them out in the divisional round. So now we have Steve McNair ready to ball out on us. And yeah, we had a fighter mentality and jumped in the game. Here we go, baby. Kickoff and let's set the tone. Oh shit. Yeah, so we had to take that lame shit personally and get one back right away. A couple quick drives went by and then Champ Bailey gets a big pick in enemy territory. We get held to a weak-ass field goal, but at least we were at the point where we could make them. Something they failed to do at the end of the half, so we were up 10-7. Beyond the little logo on the grass, the presentation or crowd didn't really seem much different from any other game for the Super Bowl. And throughout the season, Christmas games or Thanksgiving, it was a few words in the broadcast, but it never gave off any real atmosphere like decoration. But what do you expect? I'm just trying to nitpick. Yeah, we got a slow, boring touchdown from this drive. That Lopiensky man is hype, baby. They brought it back within 3 points though going into the fourth. It was 17-14. Gonzalez and Chambers had big games with important catches, but obviously we couldn't help but break free for 15 plus yards with Vic like 5 or so times. This big touchdown needle thread almost made me shit myself here. Our players were coming through on the big stage and I'd hope we are fucking stacked. But we closed out this game 27-14, and read this lame ass paper and look at the locker room door for 2 seconds, folks. You won the Super Bowl and that's what you get. Too bad we couldn't meet George Bush or Obama. Travie, now that we've won the Super Bowl, how do you feel about NFL 2K5 on the PS2?
What's going on, Boompa World? It's your boy Travie T back again with another guest appearance. This was, besides Twin Sandy, the most enjoyable game I've played this year, NFL 2K5. I really do understand the hype around 2K5, even after all these years. It's almost been 2 decades, and the game still has a very, very strong following. Its realistic gameplay was so far ahead of its time. In fact, I don't think it's been duplicated since then. I still play Madden. I'm a longtime Madden player just because there's no other football options and I love to play football. Now that I've played NFL 2K5 finally, I can just see how gimmicky Madden has become. All the things that Madden gets wrong, 2K5 gets right. For example, if I'm running away from defenders as a QB and try and throw it off my back foot, which is a golden rule in real football not to do, it's going to be a terrible throw, either interception or in the dirt, which is realistic. Whereas in Madden, I can't even begin to tell you how many 60-yard bombs I've thrown off my back foot, which is not realistic whatsoever. Also, I noticed the AI adjusts to your tendencies in this game. For example, if I run up the middle twice or once, you know, that's a tendency of mine. The defense is going to adjust and stop the run and make you throw, which you don't really see in Madden. The instant replay was amazing. I took for granted how cool it was because, you know, the new Madden, you can't do that, and it gives you multiple views. It shows you the angles in depth, what your challenge. It even gives you multiple things you can challenge, like the spot of the ball, your foot in bounds, etc. They give you the options are amazing. This game rewards you for smart play and patience, which is what I love because that's what real football requires to win. Overall, the graphics, realistic gameplay, and the presentation makes 2K5 one of the best sports/football games of all time. Like I said, I see now why it has a relatively big following for a game that's almost 20 years old. As much as I love 2K5 as a football fan, playing it makes me a bit torn because it makes me upset to see what a football game could be today. 2K5 set a blueprint for football games that has still not been topped. For that reason alone, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Thanks, guys.
Wrapping it up, 2K5 is a masterpiece of a football game, single player, or if you have friends around, the pickup games are super competitive and fun. Polished gameplay, well thought out mechanics. But it didn't feel like they cut any corners here. They just made a fleshed out football game that wasn't finicky in any way, and just had a wide variety of features that are just excessive. An absurd amount of icing on top of a quality cake. Fun plays, audibles, and quick adjustments that feel ahead of their time. And an overall weight and sense of control that just hasn't been replicated in any football game since, really. Maybe All Pro Football 2K8 because it's made off of this, but come on. There's even a first-person mode in this game. It feels like what they had here with the engine and animations was just such a better framework than what we have today. It just isn't fair this game series had to get cucked. But that's all we got time for today. I'm glad our Super Bowl wasn't rigged like theirs. And I'll see you guys next time back on the original Xbox flexing. Let me know if you have any memories with this game, if you had any schoolyard arguments of 2K versus Madden. And I hope you guys stick around. I got a lot of other sports videos on this channel, all kinds of cool games from the early 2000s, so check it out. Like the video, subscribe, stick around for more. Let's go. We're on the way to 500. And then it's like a snowball, right? You just get 500, then you get like 1,000, then you get like